Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host 𝙒𝙖𝙩𝙨 and I have with me Elmer Yuen in person. Elmer, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Thank you for inviting me. First time we do it face to face.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There's always a first for everything.
Thank you.
And viewers, there's some concerning developments in China, and the number of COVID deaths is going through the roof in Beijing. In fact, they don't have enough crematoriums to cremate the bodies. The bodies are piled up. To know more about all this stuff, and now that they have relaxed the policy, is that going to make it worse or better? So let's invite our friend Elmer to explain to us what he's seeing in China.
We have to look at a time span, not just scene by scene. Because most of the reporters look at, what's happening now, and then they describe this. We have to look at it, really join all the dots. What we believe happened before the 20th CCP plenary session, already it was exploding. That's why the whole world, in fact, Japan at that time had over 100,000 a day of infection. How come China only have 2,000-3,000?
Right.
I mean, the lie actually started a long time ago, even in the Wuhan lab. That's where the lie started. So we do not use their numbers. If you use their numbers, then you're trapped into speculating this and speculating that. That you have to use their own way of assessing their number. One of the interesting way to do it is the search on the internet. For example, the word fever. Suddenly there's explosive search of the word fever. Many people have caught it, and they're looking for a solution on the internet to what kind of medicine or so on. So these are indirect way of looking at it. And the lineup in front of a funeral home. In fact, the whole Beijing is a huge city, and this is the most important city. All the mortuary, totally filled. There's no place to put the body. Somebody died at home. They leave it, stay at home. I mean, luckily it's winter, so the body is not going back.
Decomposing less fast.
So what happened is all the mortuary in Beijing are fully booked. So imagine this whole thing, they have a plenary session. Xi Jinping wanted to have his third term. Everything was covered up. Everything is covered up. Right now, they can call me speculation. But I think what we are doing is really for the safety of all mankind. Just because your face, my face, our credibility is valued a lot. But because of our credibility, we refuse to speculate. That is even wrong, because speculation can lead to you guess, or you forecast, you predict what's going to happen, and that saves life. Look at US. They refuse to find the origin of COVID. And really, over 1 million people in US died, and lots of people died. So they refuse to do it because they say, I don't want to speculate. I have a reputation. I have academic, I have something reputation, that's why I don't want to speculate. What's wrong with speculation? All detectives every day, when they do their work, they do speculation. Otherwise, how can you be a detective?
Correct.
Right now, you are facing with such a criminal organization called CCP. You have to. So let me put it in better perspective. Already, when Wuhan started, in Wuhan, this is we're talking about 2020, over 1 million people died. They cover up. From the cell phones, there was a whole bunch of cell phones. Because cell phone cannot go to crematorium. The lithium battery will explode if you put it under fire. So they pull all the cell phone out, and you can see the whole floor of cell phone from this crematorium, auditorium, or funeral home attached to a crematorium. And even in that instance, you can be talking about 1 million deaths in Wuhan. There was a total lockdown. They experimented that, and that is kind of work. They were able to contain it, at least in China, and they allowed that to spread to the outside world. And they used this kind of quarantine, zero tolerance quarantine, to keep it down. And they were able to keep it down for 2 years. They were able to keep it down, at least on the surface. They were able to keep it down until this 20th plenary is finished and Xi Jinping got re-elected. That's what they do. Everything is for politics. It's not for health, not for anything. So they kept it down. And finally, this thing is exploding so much. Let me give you a number. For example, Hong Kong. Yesterday, about 15,000. 15,000 are infected. Hong Kong, and a lot of Hong Kong people are hiding too. We have no zero tolerance, we have no separation, quarantine, and so on. So the number is pretty close to facts. So you have 15,000, and China's population is 200 times of Hong Kong. So we're talking about 3 million a day in China. That is closer to the fact. And you are talking about population have not been vaccinated because their vaccine don't work. They have never used imported vaccine. Right now, there's huge lineup, people suddenly coming to Hong Kong to get vaccine, to get the, what you call, biotech,
Okay.
what's the name of it, Moderna and Pfizer.
Yeah, Pfizer, right.
Because in China, it's not available.
But in Hong Kong it is?
Hong Kong it is.
Oh.
Hong Kong, 3/4 of the people are using foreign vaccine.
I see.
1/4 because of so-called patriotism use the Chinese one and totally ineffective. So these are you have to look at from different aspects
Yes.
and to make your own estimation of what's happening. So right now, I can responsibly speculate that the number of infected people in China is way over 100 million. This is between 1 to 300 million people infected, and it's been going on. Not as alarming as the beginning with the Alpha and Delta, but since the beginning of Omicron, which has been almost a year,
Right.
this number of infection is between 100 to 300 million people, and death is in millions. I'm sure you know the history. In 1959, they had the big leap forward and communalized all the production. So what happened is, you don't cook yourself. Everything you produce belongs to the state, and whatever the state will have big canteens for everybody to eat. That was the big leap forward. So what happened is, all the local government officials boast, I can do how many tons of food, how many kilogram of food per acre. Those numbers were ridiculous, so ridiculous. So what happened is the government said, very good, very good. So whatever you produce, we'll put it into storage for you. And all the food went to storage, they lock it up. And then the government said, according to our numbers, still have lots of leftover to eat. So we're not worried. The people, with evidence, 40 million people died. And without evidence, can easily be double of that. The reason they died, because they refused to open the storage.
They starved them
the
to
grain
death.
storage, because nobody, you already told the boss that we have so much production, we don't know what to do with it, we put it in the storage, and nobody has the guts to ask Mao to open up the storage to feed the people. And that's how people died. And there is no total control of news, total control of your traveling. From one village to another, you need permission. And that's how people die, without knowing. And the communists are so good in covering up. In a total, we didn't find out until about 30, 40 years later about the death. And finally proof, let's say in the last 10 years, when somebody came out and really spoke the truth. And sometimes these truths never come out. So when you are dealing with a communist, it's a different breed of people. They're not even people. These are in kind of a beast. In the whole country, people don't count because they have no vote. They are basically slaves working for the Communist Party, creating wealth for the Communist Party, and then the Communist Party used that money to create influence in the world with this one belt, one road, this and that. So tremendous money are going out. So we have to understand this basic systems. So right now it's explosive. It's like a tsunami. The infection, the COVID situation in China is like a tsunami. All the government agencies are totally paralyzed because they got sick. As simple as that. And when people are sick, people stay home. They don't go to work.
Right.
Hospitals are sick. Doctors are sick. Nurses are sick. You have nowhere to go to. Just calling the emergency number, right? In China, I think it's 112. Nobody even pick up the phone. So no ambulance. The ambulance were full. It has already gone beyond the limit of controllable. So it's way beyond. So no government agency is working. You are looking at a total collapse of a government. This is how serious it is. And this is the winter. Winter is where the such kind of virus really spread, especially respiratory virus.
Right.
And there's a latest study in Canada by a few doctors. The minute this intake is cooled down, you have lost some ability of immunity, self-immunity. Normally when virus come in, it reaches here, you have some form of able to kill the virus. But when your body temperature, because you're breathing in cold air during the winter, your whole throat is cooled down. So you lost that ability. That's why virus, flu, and the common cold always happen in the winter, never happen in the summer. It's because of the weather, because of the temperature. So anyway, it's very serious. Between now, meaning December, to March, is the winter in China. I think, I don't know about India winter.
Yeah, it's right about the same time.
But in China it's more north, right?
Yeah.
So it's more serious. This is where it's going to explode. And we are looking at number of hundreds of million people being infected during this coming winter. Well, we are in the middle of the winter. So it's not an explosion, it's a tsunami. Really a tsunami. And what we are going to see, I cannot predict the fall of the Communist Party, but I can easily predict Xi Jinping's position, because the actual taking over the government is March next year. All right, they have elected those people for the party, and the party will take over the government in the March next year. 𝙒𝙬𝙤𝙪 and all those people will retire, and the new parliament member will assume those positions. I doubt very much. And there will be two very big important meetings, national meeting. One is the National Congress, and the other, Chinese use a system called the Consultative Council. So they kind of advise. Both of them are rubber stamp. So what's going to happen? But that's where all the people, tens of thousands of Chinese, will be attending those meetings in Beijing. That's where I believe, tens of thousands, I believe that Xi Jinping's position will be in trouble, because people are so angry. Nothing to do with freedom, nothing to do with democracy. People's safety, personal safety, has been threatened. Each one of them, because of the lockdown, now they cannot even buy simple painkillers. There is no cure to this virus. The cure, the so-called in the States or in Europe, costs over $1,000. So it's not even affordable. They cannot even afford Western vaccine, never mind the cure, the medicine for cure. So what happened is now they're buying up all the painkillers. You know, Tylenol, there's a joint venture, Tylenol, and then all these
Advil and stuff like that.
Advil, they don't have a joint venture, but Tylenol, totally sold out. How do you supply? And they don't just buy enough for themselves. They want to hoard these kinds
There's
of
also
painkillers.
chloroquine, right? There's a chlorine.
It's you remember the
malaria.
No, that's not what. Contact. Remember a long time ago,
Yeah.
where we have a cold, we use contact.
Yes.
Contact, they have a joint venture, but there are substances in contact we don't even use in America. But this is how serious. Totally sold out. All right, and now they're coming to Hong Kong and buy up all the painkillers in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is sold out, completely sold. This is how serious it is. And the hospitals are all closed. The clinics are closed because the doctors and nurses are sick. So you have a thing full of fear. Here, in the Western world, we're not used to it.
Yes.
Right? So we have no COVID fear. But they were warned only a few weeks ago. This thing is deadly. You may be impotent if you catch this. This is why they scare people. All kinds of consequences if you catch COVID. So people are so scared. Then a lot of people commit suicide. Once they catch it, they jump from the high rise. It's so ridiculous. When I tell you, it sounds like fairy tale. But they have been hushing up, covering up everything. Now, finally, they say, oh, we're not going to do anything. No more tests. All right? Now, this is no more tests. So suddenly, they say, oh, now we open up. If you guys want to have a coexist with the COVID, finally, I have to allow it. So later on, they blame it on the people who were opposed to this zero tolerance and who agree with this what our system goes, meaning coexist. And finally, going through immunity. This is Xi Jinping's blame game. But yet, the people of China understand that much better than we do because they live in that situation.
Right.
So I think they will be so angry by next March. I have much doubt Xi Jinping will really be in power. And I think there is an article recently by Larry Summers. You remember the Harvard principal? And
Yes.
He predicted in 6 months. That
Larry
the whole-
Summers, right.
Yeah, Larry Summers said he predicts in 6 months the regime, CCP regime, may not be there, maybe big change in China. That's what he's referring to. But I predict, my guess is more like something serious will happen in March. Nothing to do with ideologies or anything, but it's a matter of personal safety.
Now, couple of questions, Elmer. One is, do you think now Xi Jinping will have a change of heart and ask or request the West and countries like India, give us some working vaccine? He'll have to lump his
Vaccine to supply to a market like China, at least 6 months, right? To mass produce,
Yes.
to satisfy them. They don't have 6 months. The winter is here.
Right.
The winter is
It's too
here.
late now to do anything.
Too late. And he's not willing to lose. First of all, it costs a lot of money
True.
just to give him vaccine. And never mind the cure. Cure costs even more. Right? So he's not willing to lose face. That's the reason they never imported any. They have a license to produce the Pfizer.
I see.
Yeah, one of the property company got a license. He refused. So they never really used the license. They can produce in China. It's not a problem. Production has never been a problem in China. So they refused. And then no Western vaccine, no cure. They were totally not prepared for such kind of threat. He just said, go ahead, let's cancel the test. And then let's cancel. Now it's all been canceled. It's already a change of heart.
Right.
But when something like that happened, he's going to blame it. Oh, you guys asked me to open up. You guys are responsible, not me. This man is almost all the projects. There are more than 20 projects, including taking back Hong Kong. Everything is a failure. This man is famous for failure. Everything he does is a failure. He never really sit there and complete what he set out to do. He just starts something and then something, and they never finishes. You know, they are a certain personality. But his talent is to kiss ass and get elevated to that level. Seriously, I mean, people live for different reasons. You know, we live in a normal country, but China is different.
Last question. Do you think the fact that Jintao got a different list has permeated down to all the members? Because between now and March, do you think the headmaster has told his students the truth?
Well, no, Jintao did not attend these little meetings, you know, during this 20th January.
Right.
He when we started, there was a normal list they agreed to. And then the list start changing after they have these regional meetings. And he didn't attend these little meetings because he's very high up. So by the time they have a final list, he never got to see the final list.
Yes.
So at the meeting, he said, show me the list. He said, show me the list. They refused to let him see the list. So all his people were gone from the list. So Xi Jinping, he's been planning this one for 10 years. The people representing, they are not talking about, we're not talking about the central party members. We're talking about just representative to attend the meeting, to vote and select the central committee meetings, in terms of select the Politburo and then the sending. Those people, Xi Jinping has been preparing for 10 years. And his opposition, they didn't have a clue. So one way or the other, Xi Jinping will win. And the Wu Jintao matter It's just a matter of faith. Because in the end, he knows there is no way to cover up. And he insists on coming. So just have to remove it.
Well, Elmer, a lot of developments in the short time between our last hangout and today. And viewers, it's for us to wait and see what happens. Elmer, by the way, something interesting happened. In the last couple of days, there was skirmishes. There were skirmishes between Indian and Chinese troops in Arunachal Pradesh in a place called Tawang.
Taiwan, yes. We know Taiwan. We also call Taiwan.
Yeah. So with so much of challenges in Beijing, why do you think they go back and start fighting these border skirmishes?
They may try to make the people focus on the outside.
Okay.
Which normally
Divert the
happens.
attention.
Yeah,
Okay.
divert the attention. I would say this is time. This China inside whole China, all departments are paralyzed. This is the time to punish them and teach them a lesson. Hit them so hard, so they won't go do it again. This is the opportunity. You have no worry at all. The whole China, yeah, you should really look into their situation. They are not in any position to fight. But they want to, this is the way the communists do things. If they know they're in trouble, they attack first. They would never say, you attack and I defend. This whole game of communism, all right, is always being attacking instead of defending. Right? They don't believe in defending. So they are very bad in defending. What's happening now with this COVID, they don't know how to handle it. But when they want to attack, spread it all over the world, and that they are very good at it. This is the whole game. These are big gamblers. That's how they got the whole China from the nationalists. They take the offensive instead of the defensive, while people are least expected. They take offensive. I think probably that's what happened in the first war between India and China. They are very secretive, because offensive you have certain advantage. By the time people wake up, it's too late.
Well, India had some moles within its own government that kind of downplayed it. Same Chinese mindset. So that was the story for a different day. But Elmer, thank you so much for taking your time out to talk with us. And viewers, we're going to be watching this situation very carefully. We may come out with updates in the next few days. So stay tuned. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to click on the bell button for notification. Also, kindly consider donating using the super thanks button. As you can see, I have moved heaven and earth to get in front of Elmer and to have him share his thoughts in front of us. And I would like all of you to support this cause. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.